Today I'm going to show you how I rejuvenated and recharged my spring potting mixes to make them awesome for planting some fall crops. So get out in your garden today and go grow. I'm going to rejuvenate some of this potting soil that I used for my winter sowing and maybe for some other plants. But you can see the weeds have grown up in some of these. So we're going to take that soil, rejuvenate it, and get it ready for some fall planting. All right, so let's get to it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my organic alfalfa pellets ready to put into the mix. A lot of people use these for feeding their animals, but they're also good to use to put into your garden, grow your crops. Because as you can see here from this guaranteed analysis of the product, it has a lot of protein in it. And it's also got some ash in it, which is good for the garden as well. And the other ingredients are great too. So we're gonna add this to our soil mix, but it comes in a hard pellet form. So to get it into a form that's gonna be easier to mix into our soil, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it into this water that I happen to have here. There I am, hi! And this has too much water for that amount of pellets that I'm gonna use, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out. Looks like this had soil or some kind of mix in it. So I'm gonna dump this into my winter sowing jug bottom, and that's gonna slow release it into this pepper plant. All right, so there we have about an inch or two of water in the bottom of this bucket. So I'm gonna dump this in. So we'll come back later and see how those have dissolved and make it easier to mix into our soil mix. So I had some leaves in there too, which I didn't notice. I'll get rid of those leaves. I'll be back. So we're gonna take these containers and we're going to shake them up a little bit, get the potting soil out, and shake the roots out. So we have basically just potting mix left. And those roots won't hurt anything. They'll just provide a little more organic matter to the soil. And I put the tops of these plants back into the soil in the garden to compost. Just break these up. Looks like some of this does have a little bit of native soil in it, which is okay with me. My chamomile didn't even come up. See how those jugs get a little brittle if they're out in the sun all summer. And that actually said TP, which means there's some terra preta in there. So that'll be cool to mix into the soil also. Look how dark black that one is, because it has some terra preta mixed in. That'll be good to mix all through this. Here's a little tomato. But it's too late in the year for that to produce anything. We'll shake the roots out of that. There's another jug that has some weeds that grew up, and the plants didn't grow in this one either. These roots are hanging on tight. That is a nasty weed. I'm not going to throw that weed onto my garden to compost. And one more jug here. I actually grew some microgreens with this mix, so it's super dried out because I left it in the house. And this looks like some native soil. Look how bad our native soil is. It's like super clay. It'll mix into this other potting soil, and it won't cause problems because it'll be diluted down into the mix. And then I do have some potting soil mix from the spring that's left over. Go ahead and dump that in. This is Burpee organic potting mix. Now I'm gonna go out to the garden and get some compost from my worm composting pit. Hey Angel, you like compost? Of course you do. So here's my worm pit. I have it covered to keep the dog and other animals out. Put this off to the side and get the compost that's underneath here. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look good? There's some more boxes down there still decomposing. Some coffee grounds on top. Some crabs from the 4th of July. See, there's definitely some worms in there. Oh yeah, some mushrooms. And there's also some soldier fly larvae. There's some soldier fly larvae. All right, so I'm gonna get some of this compost down in here. Left some food that's still decomposing in there. Pull out those roots or sticks or whatever those are. All right, and the worms can still continue working on the rest of this. There we go. A little vermicomposting compost. Let's add this to the mix. Break that up. Get some more of these sticks out. I think the sticks are from the tree that's above the worm pit. I just chopped and dropped some leaves in there. All right, let's see what our alfalfa pellets are looking like. We put them in here, what, probably 15 or 20 minutes ago. Look at that. Looks like they're pretty broken up. If I just give it a stir, they'll probably be ready. You can just put them beside your plants and they'll dissolve too as you're planting them, or you can side dress with this as well. It's a wonderful organic fertilizer. So let's give it a swirl. I really do think that's broken up well enough for what we're using it for. And we also do need to hydrate that potting soil before we start planting it as well. So the water will be good for that. Let's add these dissolved alfalfa pellets and we'll stir that in. You can see it's pretty much dissolved into like a powder mushy powder. 16% protein, that's awesome. Let's mix everything together and it'll be good to go. So I'm going to be using this for my fall planting my lettuces and brassicas and everything. So if you're not subscribed, why not? Go ahead and click the subscribe so you can come back and see the fall planting. Probably planting a little later than you guys up north. I can usually keep brassicas alive if we don't have too crazy a winter, and keep brassicas alive the whole winter. And kale, of course, I can keep alive the whole winter. Swiss chard I can keep alive too. I stopped growing a lot of Swiss chard because it's not good for rabbits, and I like to feed our excess to the rabbits. But Swiss chard is something that really grows like crazy. It's a wonderful crop. Fun to grow, maybe not as fun to eat because it tends to be a little bit sour to me. I don't know if I'd say sour, but maybe a little bitter. So I prefer kale over Swiss chard to eat. But if you're cooking it, using it in dishes like that, Swiss chard can be great. I don't do a lot of cooking with my greens though. Probably should, I'm in the South. So I really should do some cooked collards and cooked greens. I should plant some collards this fall. So I'm gonna mix this up so I don't see too many big chunks. Go back and forth a few times, and it'll be good to grow. So get out in your garden today and go, go, grow.